Polijas Valsts autoceļu un automaģistrāļu ģenerālās direkcijas direktora biroja direktora vietnieku Szymonu Pehovjaku. Mr. Pehovjak, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here. Martins, thank you for the invitation and giving me the chance to share with you our experience in developing our network of expressways and motorways. Very briefly about me, my name is Szymon Piechowiak and I represent the General Directorate for National Roads and Motorways, which is Polish National Road Administration. We are responsible for national roads, which are around 5% of all public roads in Poland, around 18,000 kilometers. Now we are responsible for preparing, constructing and maintaining our national roads. We are still the biggest public investor in Poland. I said still because there are two big projects coming. The first Polish nuclear plant and our new national airport, Port Polska. But still we are the biggest investor. Let's imagine it's 2004. Latvia, Baltic states, Poland are joining the European Union. This is the map of Polish expressways and motorways in 2004. Just few pieces around the country, 2 lanes which are PPP projects because back then we don't have enough budget money to explore our network. Around 700 kilometers in 2004. This was the reality. 1 carriageway, 1 lane each way, no separation of directions, very crowded, very dangerous back then in 2004. 20 years have passed. Many has changed on Polish roads. A lot of good things, but we also made some mistakes. So we have lessons learned, which I want to share today with you. And these are lessons which can be used not only on roads, but by each and every public investor, which has to deal with different issues. I want to start with finance, but I thought it is too obvious, so I will start with legal frames, legal frameworks, legislation, you name it. These are only 2 examples from the internet. It's not these are not real photos from Poland, but it can happen to each and every public investor in the world. Even if you have money, it doesn't mean that you have the land to build, because the state always or very often wants to build on a land which it doesn't own. So most of the people are in favor of building new roads, but it's only one person which can block the whole story. So it is very important to have a tool to acquire land to build roads. We have such an legal act. It's called Special Road Act. We have it since 2003. So just before entering EU, we already had the tool which we can use to acquire land, to build our roads, and not to be stopped by 1 or 2 people. Everything is legal, intact, and with compensation for the owner of the land, and the compensation is often higher than the real value of the plot, because we have different bonuses which we can give to the owner, so he or she is ready to give the land for the state. And the other thing is protection of subcontractors. It is crucial because the subcontractors are the ones who really build the road and who really deliver the big projects. These are small and medium companies, often family companies, which have to be protected, because against big international or national corporations, they sometimes are too weak. So based on our experience, because we have a huge problems when it comes to big corporations and small companies, we developed a number of tools to protect subcontractors because we know that these are the ones who really build our roads, who really delivers our projects. For example, the main contractor gets money only when he or she proves that he already paid to the subcontractors. So subcontractors first, and then we'll give money to the main contractor. We also approve every contract between main contractor and subcontractors. So we know that the contracts are fair, that they are not using the market power to have not fair relations with smaller companies, smaller medium companies. So these are just two examples which were introduced in Poland to protect subcontractors because we know how important they are in the whole cycle of developing our network. Financing. There were presentation on money, on financing, and it's also, of course, crucial. The first thing, stable, long-term, multi-annual investment funding. This is very important. In the worst case scenario for an investor is to fight for money every year, every January, thinking whether I will have money to continue on my investment or not, whether I have to compete with other state spendings, for example, healthcare, military, or other infrastructure projects. We luckily don't have such a problem because we have a national road fund which is dedicated to building new roads, and it's, let's say, outside the state budget, outside the annual budget, so we can use those money only for building roads. We don't have to, let's say, fight for the money with healthcare, military expenses, etc., etc. This fund is managed by our National Development Bank, and its money to the fund comes, for example, from toll or road fines. We can also borrow money for the needs of funds. And when we talk with our colleagues from different countries, this is the tool which they say it's crucial to have the stable multi-annual investment funding, so you can build your road in long term. You can think of your development in a long term, not only year by year. Of course, building roads is not cheap. So it's good to have an external source of funding. In our case, it's mostly European funds. Before 2004, before joining the EU, we didn't have such external funding, so we had to do PPP projects. And now we are stuck with one of the, some say, most important toll roads in Europe, because those contracts signed 20, 30 years ago, they are still operating. Those PPP projects, those PPP agreements are still operating, and people, drivers, are paying a lot of money for using those private sections built back in late 90s, early 2000. We have invested since 2004 around 60 billion euro in developing our expressway and motorway network. Around half of it came from the European funds. So it's clear that without European funds, we won't be able to develop our network in such a pace. We also use other sources, external sources, for example, money from European Investment Bank, so we can put those money, for example, into the National Road Fund, which I mentioned earlier. And third point in this area, it's a balanced distribution of contracts. We are still working on this issue on two levels. The first one is coordination of different agendas: roads, railways, military, energy, airports, etc., etc. Now, Everybody is focused on their agenda. We are focused on roads. Railways are focused on railways. But it's very important, and we see the importance of this, to coordinate all these investments. This is very difficult. We still didn't succeed in this field, but we are working on this one. And the second thing is the balance flow of contracts that we put on the market. So there will be no ups and downs, that the flow on the market will be balanced, to put more or less the same number of kilometers every year to tender, so the market can feel the predictability and feel the balanced flow. This is an example. It's since 2020. You can see the chart. There are the blue one. The blue line is the number of kilometers in tender. The red one are signed contracts, and the gray one is open new roads. So you can see there are ups and downs every year. So in 1 year, 2020, we put 600 kilometers in tender, and 2 years later we put only 200 kilometers. It's very difficult to be a company on such a market because there's no predictability. I built a strong company for 600 kilometers per year in tender, and in 2 years there is only 200. So companies are starting to fight for the contracts, and they fight with a price, and the price can affect quality, and this is what we don't want to happen. So we are still trying to make it more balanced, that the number will be similar year by year. This chart is connected with the next field, which is planning and transparency. We have multi-annual investment programs when it comes to not only roads, but also, for example, railways. Our parliamentary circle or tenure is 4 years, and our multi-year investment programs are 10 to 12 years. So we can protect them from the political changes that the government will change, so they will, change all the investment which are ongoing on the preparation stage, or they are already happening on construction site. This perspective, this long-term perspective, 10, 12 years, give us the opportunity to plan everything in a longer perspective, not only for us, but also for the state, which is the payer, and also for the construction market, which has to build these roads, so they know what to expect in the previous, in next year. And this leads us to predictability. This is very important. So our action be predictable for all the stakeholders. Let's say the construction market, they want to know what we are going to build in 1 year, 5 years, and 10 years. So they can, for example, invest in their development, in know-how, in equipment, in people. They want to know if it's the time to invest, or there will be no investment, big investment in the next years. So it's the same, for example, with public administrations, which gives permits for different investments. They have to know how many investments there will be in an area, in a region, in a country, so they can, for example, hire more people, hire more civil servants to issue permits. So predictability is very important for investor, for the payer, and for construction market. Again, the same chart. Predictability in such a scenario, it's not an easy way, because 600 kilometers in tender in 1 year, 200 in another. This is not we would like to have in Poland, and we are still working on it, but it's not very easy task. First thing, we are still very dependent on European funds. As I said, half of our roads were financed from EU funds. So when there is a gap between periods of EU funding, there is we can do a little slower because we are waiting for a new perspective, financial perspective, EU perspective. So this is what influenced our plan, and of course, unfortunately, political action on a different levels also had impact on what we can and what we cannot do. Dialogue. This is the last field I want to discuss, but it's not less important than the previous one. Dialogue with construction industry. This is a crucial thing. It's a must if you want to develop your infrastructure, road infrastructure, railway infrastructure, you name it. I mean, when I say construction industry and dialogue with construction industry, I mean predictability, access to our plans, but also day-to-day dialogue, solving problems, addressing different issues, and this dialogue has to be true, has to be real, has to have a real practical impact on our deals or our cooperation. For example, when it comes to indexation, there was a question on indexation compensation. This is an example. We introduced indexation scheme in 2019 after long talks with construction industry. It was not easy. The tool is not perfect for both sides. So I think it's a good result if both sides are not happy. And we, of course, we are amending this tool because we have a war in Ukraine. Now we have a crisis in the Middle East. So this whole scheme still is changing. Capacity building. This is an issue we could have done more during last 20 years. It is very important to build your capacity, your national capacity, your regional capacity, even European capacity, when you are going to have a big plan of developing your infrastructure, road, energy, etc., etc. You have to use this moment, those years, 5, 10, 20 years, to build leaders, to build champions on the market who will drive the economy in the next years. This is very important. We, for now, in last year, we closed our tenders for bids from outside European Union. So no Chinese bids, no Kazakh bids, no Turkish bids, no Turkish companies, only European companies, only regional companies, only Polish companies. This is our tool to increase the capacity of the industry, because we know that the stronger companies are, the stronger our economy is. International cooperation. This would be the last point. It is very important, especially when it comes to projects like Via Baltica, Rail Baltica, Via Carpathia, and all other transnational investments. It is very important to talk with each other, to talk with our neighbors, and to, if it's possible, because it's not always possible, to coordinate our actions. This is our road, Expressway S3 in the southern Poland. It has been ready since 2023. As you can see, now it's not the up-to-date photo, but there is no continuation on the other side. The green field is the Czech Republic. So we have a great new, safe express, 2 carriageways, two lines each way, etc., etc. And the story will happily finish this year, because our colleagues from Czech Republic are going to open the first section of the D11 motorway on the other side of the border. So we can go from Czech to Poland and from Poland to Czech. But since 2023, we are letting filmmakers do movies on this section, or special forces to train if they want to use this piece from the last intersection to the border. I hope you remember the photo from the very beginning of my presentation. It's on the left side, and it's exactly the same place few years later. It's totally different quality. 2 carriageways, two lanes each way, separation of directions. This is what happened since 2004. What happened through those more than 20 years now. This is only one example. I asked my colleagues to prepare just a few pairs of such a photo. This is also, it's in the northern part of Poland. You can see the old road and the road, how it looks today. Another one. This is the map of Polish expressways today. We have close to 5,500 kilometers of motorways and expressways. 1,500 are under construction, around 500 are on a tender phase. So we have at least 10 years of building roads, and after 10 years probably we'll be more maintaining the existing network, which totally will be around 8,000 kilometers of motorways and expressways. My time is up. If there are any questions, I will be very happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you. Lūdzu, jautājumi.
Ladies and gentlemen, any questions? You can ask the questions here from the audience, or you can send them in on WhatsApp or by sending an SMS.
Mentioned during your presentation, but anyway, there will be a new election for the parliament in about 1.5 years, right? 2027.
Yeah.
So, is there any risk that if the political spectrum in the same changes, then also there would be a risk at the funding, let's say, of road maintenance and building and construction in Poland? Is there any risk that something might change in the future?
Everything can happen, of course, but the Polish people love driving cars. And I think no political party will decide to make it more difficult to use roads or to take some level of comfort driving during the summer or during winter from Polish people. We have just finished our general measurement of traffic. And since 2020, our traffic increased by 10%. And when it comes to international connections, it's up to 19%. We have more sections with the traffic, more than 100,000 cars per year, and we have per day. And we have sections around Warsaw which are close to 200,000 cars per day. So Polish people love driving cars, and each and every political power which will be now and in the future will remember that it is very crucial for Polish people to have the comfort of driving. Of course, there is we've been developing for the last 20 years, and there are also railways, energy, military mobility, etc., etc. So we know that we are not the only one who needs money, who needs investment, who needs funds, but we are in the good position because we see the finish line. We see the finish line, and we know that we are able to finish it. We have our funding guarantee till 2030, so it's later than the election. But we have actually a problem with spending money. This is interesting thing. Now we can spend up to 20 billion Polish zloty, which is let's say close to 5 billion euro per year. And we have this budget till 2030. We had this budget last year, we had this budget 2 years ago, and we cannot spend those money. Because the construction market, I used this word talking to Martin yesterday, the market cannot consume such amount of money. And in the previous year, when those two big projects, for example, will begin, the problem can even be bigger, because we closed the market for Chinese, Kazakh, Turkish companies. Our companies cannot consume those money which we already have, and there are big projects coming. So this is also an issue. Of course, the construction market is still saying, give us more. Give us more contracts, we are ready, but we see when we check the balance at the end of the year, again, we didn't spend the money we had, and we are waiting for the Ministry of Finance, who will finally say, hey, I give you 3 chances, 1 year you spent 18 billion, Next year you spend 16, now you spend whatever, but it's 20, it's not enough. There are other sources, there are other needs in the country. So no, I'm not afraid that there will be no money for roads in the future.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I wish we could say we have the same problem in Latvia here too. Wishful thinking. Yep. Jautājumi lūdzu no zāles. There's a live streaming on Facebook, so unfortunately no questions so far for you, but there's a lot of likes.
Okay, so if my wife is watching...
Yeah. Tad mēs teiksim ļoti lielu paldies Šimonam. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dziękuję bardzo.